When the zombie virus breaks out, normal people would run for their lives. But there is such a group of people. Not only did they not run away, but they made much money from their business of fighting zombies for them. Only this man could have come up with such an amazing business model. One may not look like much, but he is a good man in life. He's always helping the elderly. It makes sense that he would take advantage of the opportunity to mooch a bit though. After all, there's no such thing as a free lunch. One will also help look after his wife when the man next door leaves for work. If the man came home early from work, he would do a good deed and leave quietly, but his comfortable life is about to be shattered. One day, while fishing with his companion, he fished up a corpse. He didn't expect the corpse to be a zombie. The disfigured look of the zombie scared Lazaro, and he shot his harpoon, hitting the zombie in the head. Thinking they had killed someone, they decided to keep it a secret from each other. Then they left the scene in a hurry. Little did they know that a terrible zombie crisis was about to sweep through P-City. As soon as they got home, Juan was called by Ya from next door. Ya said that her husband seemed to have died. Juan went to check on him and found him unresponsive, so he came up to him and told him that his wife had run away with someone else. When he said that, the dead man reacted, but just as Juan was about to leave, the man, who had been paralyzed for years, stood up. It was a medical miracle. I don't know if Juan's words provoked the man. He lunged at Juan and attacked him. Juan realized something was wrong and told Ya to call Lazaro for help. Soon after, Lazaro arrived with Vladi. They tried to pull the man away, but it was no use. So Lazaro went back again and brought a harpoon from the room. Juan tried to stop him, and it would have been a disaster if there had been more trouble. In the scramble, the harpoon accidentally hit Ya. Not only that, but the man was also impaled. But strangely enough, the man did not fall. Apparently, he had turned into a zombie, just like the corpses in the sea. This bizarre sight froze the three men in their tracks. Thinking that a demon possessed the older man, they put garlic in his mouth and began to exorcise the demon. Seeing that nothing was working, Juan took the wooden spike and stabbed him in the heart. But it still didn't do anything. Juan picked up another crucifix and chanted a spell at the man, but it still didn't work. Juan was furious and smashed the man's head. It seems to be useful to knock the head. The three men thought they had gotten into trouble and had to sneak the body away. But while transporting the corpse, it came back to life. The three men had to kick the corpse hard. After disposing of the body, they turned around to see a woman who had jumped to her death from a building. They decided to go back upstairs to have a look. In the room upstairs, Lazaro saw a girl hiding in the corner. He had to go up to her to comfort her, but his eyes were looking straight at her chest. After settling her down, they went back to the roof. It wasn't until they saw the television news that they realized a zombie virus outbreak. The next morning, Juan looked through his binoculars and saw that the streets were full of zombies. But while people were scrambling to escape, Juan had a bold idea. He found a group of like-minded people prepared to help clean up after the zombies, all for a fee. Of course, $50 for killing a zombie, plus $100 for cleaning up the scene, 20% discount for the elderly and children. Women can be charged on a case-by-case basis. The orders came pouring in as soon as the company was set up. The company is full of talented people, La China, which specializes in long-range attacks. L is blindfolded for fear of blood sickness. Slingshotter Vladi. Lazaro slashes from the street to the end of the day with 2 watermelon knives without batting an eyelid. And finally, Juan, the all-powerful hexagonal warrior and owner of a zombie cleanup company. With a few people working in tandem, the first deal was perfect. Thanks to the company's efficiency, they soon received a second order. A woman said that all the tenants in the room she rented out had turned into zombies, probably dozens of them. It is a big deal, but while they were working out their tactics, La China is startled by a cockroach. The scream managed to attract the zombies' attention. As it happened suddenly, the group was backed into a corner, but something worse happened. A sudden power outage caught them off guard. With their vast combat experience, the zombies were eventually taken care of. After all, there was an L on the team who was good at closing his eyes. Unfortunately, the lady boss was also accidentally killed in confusion. Apparently, the business was for nothing. To expand the business, they started handing out flyers around the neighborhood. The company grew from strength to strength. Their life was going well. That very night, however, as they were returning home from their work, they were stopped in their tracks by several soldiers. It turns out that the government is planning to rescue all the survivors and create a safe zone to fight the zombies. The soldiers made them take off their clothes to ensure they hadn't been bitten. After making sure there were no wounds, they were taken to the safe zone to prevent them from not cooperating. They were handcuffed. However, while on the way, one of the survivors suddenly mutated. He took a bite out of the unlucky man next to him. The car was thrown into chaos, but they made it out unscathed. One was still handcuffed to La China because he hadn't found the key, while the two of them didn't know what to do. Something was wrong with La China. It turns out that he was bitten by a zombie last night. This isn't good. And the handcuffs haven't been removed yet. That's when La China jumped on him. Luckily, Juan was able to avoid his attack with a beautiful dance. Finally, Juan spins and jumps and pushes La China off the building. At that moment, Vladi arrived with his girlfriend. They saved Juan with a bottle of lubricant. They then look through their binoculars and see that the streets are filling up with zombies. With no survivors, with no customers, the company's performance is plummeting. The news is also urging everyone to get to the shelter, because the whole city was about to fall. After some discussion, they set out to escape. On their way to the shelter, they spotted a car, but the car wouldn't start, and the zombies behind it were catching up. They had no choice but to walk to the shelter. But when they finally reached the shelter, they found the doors locked. Elle made a fatal mistake and became food for the zombies. The shelter has fallen, and the rest of the group has to scramble to get out. They then arrive at a square, only to stop for a moment and find themselves surrounded by walkers. They were in a desperate situation. They were about to be killed by the zombies. Suddenly, a siren blows. A pickup truck comes speeding by. He shoots an arrow with a wire rope and hits a pillar. And just like that, hundreds of zombies were easily killed. He dazzled the professional zombie cleaners with this move. And Jones led them out of there. After they got to know each other, Jones started to tell them about his heroic deeds. He told everyone to follow him and leave. But before he could finish his sentence, Lazaro's harpoon went off again. Juan was speechless at the prospect of such a pig of a teammate. But now they had to find a way out of here. That's when Juan saw a car. He instantly came up with an idea. So they went into action. They built an amphibious boat using everything they could find in the car park. The next morning, Juan took Lazaro to the beach to prepare for the rest of the plan. Lazaro shouted loudly, waking the sleeping zombies. They were going to do it in a big way. They fought a tough battle and cleared out most of the zombies. Then they piled up the bodies on a ramp. This allows the amphibious vehicle to go down to the sea. But just as they were about to move, the pair suddenly heard a boy's cry for help. So Juan told Lazaro to go back and drive the amphibious vehicle, and he went to rescue the boy. Following the sound, he soon found the boy who was looking for help. Juan pulled the walkers away and got the boy out of there, but they were just about to leave over the wall when Juan was pulled down by the walker again. Luckily, he was good at it. Juan pushes him away and picks up the shovel on the ground, but the zombie pounces on him again. Juan uses his position to his advantage and pushes the zombie down. Juan takes the opportunity to hit the zombie twice. The zombie was then trapped. He then carries the boy to the beach. The amphibious vehicle arrived at the same moment. The amphibious vehicle landed safely on the sea. Juan got on the boat with the boy in his arms. For the moment, if they all left together, they could all live. But Juan chose to stay, because he didn't want to leave the country and the city where he grew up. He had been lucky enough to survive many crises. This time was no exception. After saying goodbye to the others, Juan returned to the shore, and behind him, the zombies are already thickly packed. Can he pull off another miracle? This is the end of the story, so subscribe to my channel and see you next time.